good progress. So I was in and out of the hospital seeing her Thursday, Friday, Saturday. On the Sunday afternoon, something changed, and she started to experience very, very severe headaches, and she started to get a bit confused. So they sent Lisa for an emergency CT scan, and they found bleeds on Lisa's brain, so there was blood clotting and a bleed. And at that point, she was still conscious, but she was transferred to high dependency. And we spoke around about 1 o'clock in the morning, into the Monday morning. And that was the last time that Lisa and I spoke to one another. Early on the Monday morning, Lisa had a very serious surgery where she had such a lot of pressure on her brain, and the surgeon had to remove part of Lisa's skull to release pressure in her brain. So the next time I saw Lisa was on the Monday afternoon on intensive care, and Lisa never woke up following that surgery.
She was 44 years of age, a mum.
Yep.
Obviously, the question in your mind must be weighing up the risks of not taking a vaccine and the small risk that there is in the wider population, but the risk that meant your wife lost her life. There have been tens of millions, 40 odd million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine administered. There have been 73 deaths out of those 40 odd million due to the adverse reaction that you've described.
This is the thing, Stephen, that disappoints me more than anything. In the way that these people, these 73 people that have died of the same condition as what Lisa died of, they're always talked about. It's only 73 in a...
I'm not saying that. I'm really not saying that.
I'm not saying that you're saying that, Stephen. I'm saying that seems to be the line that I see, and I'm nearly 6 months into this now, and I see a lot of it on social media, and if these vaccine-induced deaths are actually talked about, period, they're always talked about with this caveat as to how rare this condition is, and I understand that it is rare, but just the condition that Lisa had, that's 73 people. I'm in touch with quite a few of those people. I think on my phone at the minute I've got about 10 conversations going with people who've lost husbands, wives, couples that have lost sons in their 20s to the exact same condition as Lisa. 73 people. And all I hear is, well, that's a drop in the ocean compared to how good a job the vaccine has done. And I don't dispute what the vaccine has done. I've had 2 jabs because I believe that, we want to try and get the country running and back to normal. But these people that this has happened to, and 73 people, that's 73 people who've died of the same thing as Lisa. The government's yellow card system shows far more than 73 people, but if we just talk about vaccine-induced thrombotic thrombocytopenia, 73 people, that's quite a lot of people. It's a lot of mums and dads and sisters and brothers, sons and daughters. It shouldn't be talked about as, it's very rare, it's 1 in a million. It's what I see. I see that on social media. If somebody talks about my wife, Lisa, oh, it's very sad what's happened to her, but the chances of it happening are, 1 in a million. It's only one person, It's a pretty big person in my life. It's a pretty big person in the life of my 6-year-old son and my mother and father and my mother and father-in-law and my sisters-in-law and brothers-in-law. I just think it's disrespectful that they're talked about in that way. I don't think in any other circumstance where that number of people had died would people talk about the people that didn't die or the people that were saved. Something that I've talked to a few people about is when we talk about tragedies that have happened in this country over the last 20 or 30 years, and I class what's happened to these 73 people as a tragedy. It's a national tragedy. We always talk about them, but this number of people didn't die, but we never do that with all those poor people that lost their lives in Hillsborough or Grenfell or the Manchester Arena or 7-7. We never say 97 people died at Hillsborough, but thousands of people didn't. So should we be grateful for that? Because I'm not grateful that my wife, my son's mother, and 70-something other people have lost their lives.
I completely understand. I completely understand. I guess, Gareth, when I was talking about the 73 deaths compared to the amount of people taking it, I guess you will know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to provide the context so that people can decide for themselves whether they wish to take the risk or not, and put the risk into some type of context.
I would never ever tell anybody to not get a vaccine. Everybody has to make their own choice. People can do whatever it is that they want to do. And, when Lisa got the AZ jab, when I got the AZ jab, there'd been stories in the media about clotting and things like that, but you go along with it because you don't think something like that is going to happen to you. But it has happened, and the fact that it has happened, Stephen, it needs to be recognised, it needs to be talked about, and it needs to be... I think somebody needs to show these people, these 73 people, or the over 1,700 people that are suspected to have died of all different conditions. But if we're just talking about the people that have died of what my Lisa has died of, those people need to be shown some respect. Those people need to be recognised in some way. Somebody needs to stand up, be that in government or whatever, and say, we're aware that this has happened and we're going to do something about it. We're sorry that this has happened. Because at the end of the day, Stephen, all my wife did, all I did, all these other people have done is roll their sleeves up because they were told to. They rolled their sleeves up for the country. And now, when I talk about how Lisa died, I feel like I'm saying something controversial, like I'm saying something I shouldn't be saying. You're called anti-vax. I sometimes have to, before I speak, I have to say, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but because I'm not an anti-vaxxer, I had a second jab. I had a Pfizer jab after Lisa died. And that took some balls to do, believe you me. I went and got a jab because I thought it was the right thing to do.
And how did you weigh that up in your mind? You'd seen what the AstraZeneca vaccine had done to your wife. You were then deciding whether to have your second jab. Did you proactively refuse the AstraZeneca jab for your second jab?
I agonised over it. I had a number of conversations with my GP. And then I